Your shoulders are turning, your hips aren't, and that gap is costing you 20 yards minimum. Most weekend golfers have been told to turn their body in the backswing, and they do. They turn their shoulders, hard, but they leave their hips almost completely behind, and that single disconnect is why your shots feel powerless even when you think you swung hard. Here's the part that stopped a professional instructor mid-sentence. It took one 5-minute drill done at home. No club required, to prove I'd been doing this wrong for 2 decades. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to fix. This is the mistake keeping 90% of weekend golfers stuck at the same handicap year after year. Not their grip, not their stance width, their rotation, or the complete lack of it. Think about the last time you really flushed a drive. There was a feeling of coiling, a spring winding up in the backswing, then releasing through impact. That feeling is rotation working the way it's supposed to. Now think about your typical swing. Are you getting that feeling? Or does it feel like you're swinging your arms and hoping the body catches up? If it's the second one, you've got a rotation problem, and the fix is simpler than you'd think. You can start working on it tonight in your living room. Let's start with the actual fault. When an instructor watches a weekend golfer swing for the first time, one of the first things they check is the relationship between shoulder turn and hip turn in the backswing. In a solid swing, the hips rotate roughly 45 degrees while the shoulders rotate roughly 90 degrees. That gap between them, called the X factor, is where your power lies. Here's what they see instead in most weekend golfers. The shoulders turn 90 degrees. The hips turn maybe 10, sometimes less. That's not a coil, that's a cramp. The hips are the engine of the golf swing. When they rotate properly in the backswing, they load up like a compressed spring. When they fire first on the downswing, that energy transfers through your core, through your arms, through the club, and into the ball. But it gets worse. When the hips don't rotate, the body compensates. The arms take over. You start casting from the top, coming over the ball, hitting weak pulls and dead slices. None of those are arm problems or hand problems. They're rotation problems wearing a disguise. Here's why this happens so often. Golfers get told, and not entirely wrongly, to keep their head still and stay centered, so they try to restrict everything. They lock their lower body, stand rigid, and turn only from the shoulders up. The body hears "don't move" when the actual instruction should be rotate around a fixed axis. Don't sway. There is a difference. Swaying off the ball is bad. Rotating around a stable spine is the whole point of the golf swing. Now here's the fix. And it comes down to one cue. Your right hip, for right-handed golfers, needs to turn behind you in the backswing. Not up, not sideways, not straight back. Behind you. Imagine someone standing 3 feet behind your right hip, and your job is to point it directly at them. That's the cue. One thought. When the right hip turns behind you, everything else follows. The shoulders rotate fully. The weight loads into the right side correctly. The left knee gets the flex it needs to support the turn. And at the top, you feel that spring tension, real coil between the upper and lower body. Here's the drill that proves this in 5 minutes. You need a wall and about 3 feet of space. No club required. Stand in your normal golf posture, feet shoulder-width apart. Knees slightly bent, back on a gentle forward tilt. Position yourself about a foot in front of the wall, facing away from it. Take your backswing. As you reach the top, try to touch the wall behind you with your right hip. Not your elbow, not your shoulder, your hip. If your hips haven't been rotating, your right hip will stop well short of the wall. You'll feel tightness in your hip flexor, a pulling sensation down your left side. That tension you just found. That's the loaded coil that was missing from your swing. Do this 20 times, slowly. Each rep, try to get that right hip a little closer to the wall. Feel the lower back load up. Feel the left knee bend inward slightly to accommodate the turn. Step away from the wall now and make the same move without it. It'll feel excessive, like you're overdoing it. You're almost certainly not. This is just what real hip rotation feels like compared to what you've been doing. Here's what gets people every time. Common mistake number 1, letting the right knee straighten. When the right knee loses its flex in the backswing, the hip doesn't rotate, it rises. Keep a soft bend in that right knee throughout. It's the anchor for the whole turn. Common mistake number 2, thinking about your arms while doing this drill. Don't. This is a lower body drill. The arms follow. Your only job right now is getting that right hip behind you. 20 reps. That's the drill. 5 minutes. Here's what you'll feel on the range when you pick up a club. A fuller backswing with less effort. Your left heel might lift slightly at the top. That's fine. That's the body making room for a real turn. You'll arrive at the top feeling loaded instead of wound up in your neck. And on the downswing, when the hips fire first, which they'll now actually do, the club will naturally drop into a shallower plane. You won't have to think about your arms. They'll follow. Watch Rory McIlroy from a down-the-line angle. His right hip turns dramatically behind him in the backswing. There's a reason his distances are consistent and his ball striking looks effortless. It starts from the ground up every single time. Try this on the range before you adjust anything else in your swing. Just this one thing. Let's recap. 1. Your hips aren't rotating because you've been trained to stay still when the real goal is to rotate around a fixed spine angle, not freeze in place. 2. The fix is 1 cue right hip turns behind you in the backswing, not up, not sideways. Behind. 3. The wall drill, 20 slow reps, gives your body the feel of real hip rotation in about 5 minutes. Do it before every range session for 2 weeks. Give it 2 weeks of consistent practice, and you'll feel it, not just on the range, but on the scorecard. Drives that used to feel like you muscled them will start to feel easy. That's what it feels like when the engine is actually running. If you want a lock in this rotation feel even faster between range sessions, I've linked the Orange Whip Swing Trainer in the description below. It's the best tool I've found for building proper rotation and tempo without hitting balls. It's what I use to keep the feel sharp between rounds. Check the link if that sounds useful. Subscribe for a new tip every week. Next up, we're getting into the one-putting grip change that stops the yips. A lot of you have been asking about that one, and the answer might not be what you expect. What's your miss? Do you lose power through impact, or is the slice your main problem? Drop it in the comments below. I read all of them, and it helps me build the next tip around what you actually need. Save this video before your next range session. The wall drill section is worth rewatching before you start.